Hi, I'm Kim Ureta, and I'm here with Meg Lamm. And we met online and just found a common thread in what we want to share with our communities is recovering from codependency and addictive behaviors, and how do we find ourselves and be safe and calm ourselves down and stay in the moment.
Yes, exactly. How do we come to a place where we are comfortable with asking for what we want without always looking to an external source to say that it's okay that we have those needs, or even that someone else might be disappointed or upset by us not meeting their need or us being our truest, most authentic version of ourselves. It's not our job in a relationship to make sure that we are what other people want. It's our job in a relationship to be the most authentic version of ourselves and then be received in that way. And then we get to be in a relationship, right? We're not managing it anymore. We're saying, this is who I am. Do you want to be with me in this way?
Yeah, I really love that. I was raised that other people come first, and being of service to my Lord Jesus and my world means that I show up and my needs are last or
Hmm.
not at all.
Not
And
at all. Hmm.
um, basically, how that felt to me is I had to disappear, and I couldn't really be in the present, and I couldn't be in my body, and it became escapaholism.
Avoidant behavior. It's a real thing. And I don't think people are aware that it is so real, that we are trying so frequently to avoid a situation and we behave in order to meet that, right? We behave in a way to manage that, to create that, so that we are avoiding what we don't want to experience, as opposed
Yeah.
to being here and saying, okay, this is what I do want, and these are ways I can go about it. But I agree that putting ourselves last is for sure a way to get to that space that you're talking about, which is, I don't matter.
Yeah. And I mean, it's taken a couple of years where I can actually identify what it is that I need in the moment,
Hmm.
because you had a rehearsed response. Oh no, it's fine. It's
Hmm.
okay. And then later
Hmm.
you're like, well, actually I wanted this. And then it builds resentment. Um,
So much resentment if we can't be clear about what we want and ask for it. How does anyone know? I remember saying that to myself in my head, like, why doesn't my mom know that I don't want that? Well, because I never told her. So I never even gave her the opportunity. But yeah, the resentment will become so strong and then we get triggered and then we're blaming others for our feelings. And
yeah, it's so nice when you can have a healthy relationship and be
mhm.
clear about boundaries and have open communication, and where we've gathered our sense of self, where we know what we want in the moment. It's
Mhm.
kind of like I described this to some of my clients. Remember the original Willy Wonka, and
Yeah.
there's Mike TV.
Hmm.
So Mike TV, he goes in the little microwave thing, and the little bits of him are up here
Yeah.
before he has to come back to himself.
Hmm.
And that's how I kind of feel like a lot of people are. You've spread yourself so thin and you're so all over that you don't even really know who you are. And you can't tell what it is that you feel or what you need.
Yeah, we're so outside of ourselves because I do think we spend so much time, especially as women, um, not negating men at all. I just think that women are conditioned from a very young age to please and serve, and so I think we spend so much time doing that, being those things for other people. And like you mentioned, I was taught that it's selfish, like don't be so selfish to have a need. That so then I
Yeah.
think we get confused. We get confused about what's appropriate, and we're constantly looking outside of ourselves saying, is it okay? Is it okay that I want
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Well, and then having that in in our culture, a lot of women connect with negative energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Talking about other people and
Yes,
talking about other
absolutely.
people's behavior, and so it also, that's part of the training. It feels like, of,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't want to be the one that they talk about.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that I'm just so grateful and appreciative that I find women like you, where we find comfort in being in the present,
Mm-hmm.
and find comfort in being understood, and and just living in this happy place, not like, oh, I'm gonna avoid all my feelings and talk crap about somebody, and that's how
Right.
I'll say, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not relaxing to me,
Yeah,
to go
not
sit
at
and
all.
gossip about somebody drinking lemonade on the porch.
Right. But it's so true because if you think about it, I know that you know this. When I'm in that space where I need to go and talk about someone else, my central nervous system is so revved at that point in time, and when I was unaware, it would be like, how can I get this out of me? And it wasn't ever by a way that was actually addressing what the problem was. It was just a way to get that energy out and project it onto another situation or another scenario by blame or like, what are you doing when you're gossiping about someone? You're basically shaming them, right? I mean, not to their faces, but you're saying what they're
Yeah,
doing is wrong in some way, shape, or form. And
yeah. Instead of reflecting and saying, okay, what is it that they did that's making me feel like
hmm
it's against how I was raised, and why would they do that when,
hmm
just recognizing that everybody's got their own stuff and it has nothing to do with you.
exactly. And recognizing for me, a big part is, and I'm still a work in progress, right? I'm in no way, shape, or form saying I'm perfection. Um, but saying, what is that trigger? And what is it showing me that I need to look at or address within myself? Like, what need hasn't been met? What have I neglected? And that I'm still getting triggered by someone, making what could possibly be a very mundane comment,
Yeah.
something that meaningless.
It's what my mother always says. Why would they do that? Because they're not you, mom.
Right. Well, they have no idea how you're responding to that. It's really, they're not trying to make you mad. I promise it's
Yeah.
not, it's
Well,
nothing to do with you, actually.
there is a really great worksheet on it's thework.com. Have
Yes,
you heard of
by
Byron
Byron
Katie?
Katie. I was just
Yeah.
talking about her this morning. I love
Yeah.
her.
So she's got an app actually that you can
Really?
go and write. So and then you can print it out. I use
Yes.
it for step 4 in the
Okay.
12-step program,
Mm-hmm.
the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. And she wants you to write what was the situation that angered, confused, hurt, saddened
Mm-hmm.
you. In this situation, how did you want him or her to change? What would you have them do instead?
This is
Um,
fantastic.
and then it says, in this situation, what advice would you offer him or her?
Mm-hmm.
What should have they done or shouldn't have done? And she wants you to get as petty as you can. The thing you
Mm-hmm.
should never say, and you wouldn't say, you write it.
Yeah.
You do it.
Yes.
You write
Yeah.
it. And then by the end of it, she has you answer those same questions, but flipped it upside down. So if I
Mm-hmm.
say, my husband stresses me out, at the end of it, I have to write, I stress my husband out. And then you answer the
Exactly.
questions again. It kind of takes it from this like asteroid, and then it goes stardust.
Mhm.
Like it does exist, but not.
Right.
It really helps you work through it. I love tools like that.
Mm-hmm.
And how I teach my clients, and specifically in stressful situations where things are coming to a head, or you just find yourself kind of in this like unmanageable situation,
Yeah.
is I will take an essential oil. So I only use doTERRA just because this is the medicinal kind. It's kind of like, do you want some fruit? Yes, I wouldn't hand you a handful of Skittles.
Right. Right.
I want fruit,
Mm-hmm.
not something made in the lab.
Yeah.
So something I do, have you ever heard of copaiba or copa?
Yes. Yes. I have some actually.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
good. Okay. So it comes from a tree in Brazil.
I did know that because I was curious about what it even was. I remember when I got it, I was like, I don't even know how to say this, and I'm not even sure why I would have it. But yes, please go on.
Well, use it all over your face for one. I mean, it's amazing for skincare.
Oh,
But
is it?
yes,
I didn't know that. Well,
especially during the
thank you.
summer. Yes.
Okay.
So I breathe it in, but one thing that you can do is I'll just take a drop in my hand
Mm-hmm.
and I'll breathe it in.
Mm-hmm.
So copaiba, it activates the endocannabinoids throughout your entire
Mm,
nervous system, just
yes.
like CBD or THC, but it has
Okay.
zero to do with the hemp plant. It's this beautiful big giant tree down by the Amazon River, and it comes from a maple syrup tap. So they
Wow.
plug in the maple syrup tap and they got the big bucket. I just love imagining it. It makes me happy.
Bring it on.
With the guy in the
Bring it
red
out.
cloth and he's like, yeah. Anyway, big tarantulas in the
I
tree.
love you have this entire image. This is fantastic.
Yeah,
I
it's like,
love it.
it's like you smell it, you get to go to the place. So we want to help our nervous system go from fight or flight. So if I'm angry at so and so, or I'm feeling resentful, or if I have a pain in my body or stress,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be running from the tiger. I want to come back and be the little rabbit in my cozy
Mm-hmm.
little rabbit hole having
Mm-hmm.
carrot stew.
Mm-hmm.
So I come back into my safe place. Then what I can do as far as a yoga movement to help tone the vagus nerve, which is basically it comes up the left side of your neck and it's going
Yes.
covering your brain and back down through your spine. We want to tone this nerve to help build our resilience to stress. So I'll show you real quick. It's fun. My friend
I
taught
love
me
it.
recently.
Please.
You're gonna intertwine your hands like this, and you're just gonna have tension. So I'm pulling them apart while keeping them together.
Okay.
And we're gonna breathe in our nose and out our mouth.
Okay.
So as we keep doing this, I'm gonna do it from the side so you can see. My
Mm-hmm.
eyes are gonna track my hands. I'm gonna keep that tension and I'm going
Okay.
to keep the breathing. And my hands are gonna rise. My eyes are gonna track. In the nose, out the mouth. And you don't have to have a straight elbow or anything. It's just enough, and keep the eyes tracking. And on the next inhale, you can release the tension and allow your hands to come down. So basically, it's kind of like we just like pop the pimple of pressure.
Definitely. I can feel it. I can feel a difference in terms of, yeah, I maybe was up here and now I'm like, oh, I'm very much here. I'm very present right now in
Good.
my body. Yes.
I can feel kind of like this nice wash of
Mm-hmm.
blood going through my
Mm-hmm.
system. It's kind of like I got out of a warm bath and somebody kissed me.
Absolutely. I with a warm towel and a hug. I
Like
love
I
a good
love
hug.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
it's a nice coping skill,
It
to use.
is. It is. And especially right when we're putting ourselves into these situations where they seem so foreign and they seem so scary. When someone is considering asking for what they want and they never have before, and they're considering what the response is, what the external response is going to be from the person they're asking, or
Mhm.
just in the situation, that can be very scary. So having something like that to really calm ourselves down before doing that, or even afterward, when we might
Yeah.
even be a little, our those sensations might even be more heightened, um, is really helpful. And it makes it seem more approachable, which just makes it seem like, okay, I can do this. I have a tool, like you said, I have a skill set that I can now employ, which just, it makes it seem just less scary.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a way and we know we don't have that far to fall.
Hmm.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
if the worst thing that could happen is the person's going to say what we don't want them to say.
Hmm.
And, that's not in our control.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can't.
It's, and I think what we were talking about earlier about managing the people, is a means for us to still remain in control. And the sooner we realize we are never going to be able to control someone else's response or even their needs, or just ourselves, really puts us in that place of power. Is opposite, is backward as that sounds initially, by being willing to relinquish that control and surrender to that place of, I can only control me. That really puts us in this place of being powerful in the situation, because then I'm no longer a victim to someone else's
Yeah.
emotions or response. Does that resonate with
Yeah,
you?
and I love what it teaches the partner in the relationship because it means that they can ask for what they need, they can communicate their boundaries, and there's no longer a
Absolutely.
pressure of your actions and behaviors affect my happiness.
Absolutely. I say that to my kids all the time. Especially after I've had a moment where I wasn't necessarily present and in control of my emotions. And I say, I am angry. And just because that happened has nothing to do with you. You are not responsible for taking care of that for me. I need to figure out what about this actually made me feel or triggered that response in me. And then if I feel that I do want something from you, I can ask for it, as opposed to me putting it all on you like, well, how dare you do that? That's like,
Yeah,
yeesh, yeesh, no thanks.
yeah. How can I make her happy again?
Exactly. And then they're doing the dance, like, and that's a terrible place to be. Of what dance do I have to do when we're talking about codependency, right? I'm only okay if you're okay. So for me, that means, what dance do I have to do in order for you to be okay? And that's a lot of energy expended. That's a
Yeah.
really hard way to live
I
life.
love a lot of going through the 12 steps and right after, was it like we're after step 7, it's kind of I'm letting go of my shortcomings. I'm giving it to
Hmm.
my higher power.
Hmm.
I'm not expecting results. I'm just passing the notebook, giving over the
Hmm.
basket.
Yeah.
Uh there's kind of this feeling of like if I let go of my shortcomings, how will other people relate to me and what will
Hmm.
maybe they won't like the new me,
Absolutely.
you know?
I talk about that all the time.
So like with
How will this, oh, I'm sorry, mom.
oh, it's okay, sorry. We're like, are you okay?
Hmm.
Just kidding. Um, so with with my mom, I had to tell her she's very physically centric. She's got a like, oh, your hair looks really good this way, or she wants to talk to the kids about their looks. Oh,
Hmm.
this looks really good. For example, I have very curly hair, and
Yes, I love your curly hair.
thanks. I
Love it.
straightened my hair all my life because my mom said I looked more like her daughter and beautiful with straight hair. And
Oh.
so for years and years, I straightened my hair. And my daughter, the other maybe a couple months ago, she had straightened her hair, and my mom, oh my God, you look so beautiful. You should
Hmm.
always straighten your hair. It looks great. And I'm like, okay, this is the time where I need to tell my mom, like, look, we're not going to talk about the looks anymore. And
Hmm.
she's exactly who she is supposed to be. And her
Yeah.
straightening her hair is not going to, you're not going to love her more, and you won't.
Right.
So,
And you won't
yeah. Yeah.
love her
It's
anymore.
just, it's like a clear boundary like that.
Absolutely. And making the request is the only way that anyone knows where the boundary lies for us. Like, we have to make the request, or else it's never out there. We're just allowing things to go on. And then ultimately, right, like, allowing ourselves to sit in this place of discomfort and dissatisfaction all the time, because, I mean, it's a risk. Absolutely. Is it worth it?
It really
Absolutely.
is. I will say it took several weeks for her to get used to it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like she said, I don't even know how to be around you. And that was the fear because that she was brought up that her beauty was the most important thing,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know? But
Hmm.
um but it is worth it. I've trained her.
I do say that to people when we train people how to treat us, though. We really do. I mean, if by our behavior, they understand in our relationship how to treat me by my response to them or the way I've treated them as well. So by not saying anything to your mom, you would continue to teach her that it's
Yeah.
okay for you.
Or like when somebody calls me, um, they would just kind of dump on me.
Oh.
So there
Mhm,
wasn't, do you have time?
mhm,
Do you have emotional
mhm,
space for to listen?
mhm.
So when I call the same people, I will say that to them. Oh, do you have a minute? I need to run something by you. I have kind of like some emotions.
Absolutely.
Or, this, or I'll be clear about what this is about. Oh, this is
Mhm,
about that vacation we talked about.
mhm,
Or so that there's it's trauma informed.
mhm.
So if I've done it enough to where they go, I kind of appreciate it if she asks me if I have a minute to listen, you know? That those same
Absolutely.
people start doing that to me. They'll say, "Hey, do you have a minute?" You know?
Yeah. Not just let me unload everything on you here. And
Yeah,
that is, I mean, that is truly right. We did that. You and I did that a lot in our lives of just because you don't want to be selfish and you want to be the people pleaser that I'll just take it all on. So yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Just
Let
go
people
ahead.
just dump and say, "Oh, I feel so much better. Well, I just got to soccer practice, so I'll let you
Right.
go."
Gotta run. That's one of my least favorite phrases. I'll let you go. I'm like, are you doing me a favor? Or if you want to end the conversation, I think it's more clear if you say, okay, I have to go now, not I'll let
Yeah,
you go. It's just that whole kind of twisted, unclear jargon that we use with people when we
yeah.
aren't comfortable stating what we really want or need. It works both ways.
Well, this has been fun. I really appreciated
Oh my
sharing
gosh.
and
Yes. Thank you, Kim. And thank you for that awesome exercise. I love it. I'm going to employ it with my clients and myself as well.
love it. Well, thanks for everyone who's listening and showing,
Yes.
showing up for yourself today.
Yes. Keep doing it. I know it seems so challenging and hard at the beginning when we feel it's just so new. And the more we do it, the more we train our brains to keep doing it. And so celebrate it every time you do it because the subconscious mind loves emotion.
Well, I will put both of our links in the comment part of the video, but we did
Excellent.
really appreciate you. Where is what's your website, Meg?
I don't have an official website where people can reach me. So I would say the best place to reach me is on Facebook. And you can DM me or I'll just give my link to you. And
Perfect.
then if people follow me, there's a group that they can join.
Oh,
It's
that's
called
great.
Bold. Yeah.
Yeah, like finding a safe group where you can practice these
Hmm.
communication skills so that you can take them back into real life when you're ready to leave the fishbowl.
Absolutely. Like you said, like we've been saying the whole time, because it seems so scary. And so to know that other people are doing it in a community with you makes it just seem so much more reachable, right? Like it's attainable. There's a safe
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Ah, it's
If
okay.
somebody brings up something that you're like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's relatable. You can relate to that just like we're relating to each other right here. But absolutely.
Thank you so much, Meg, for taking the
You're
time.
welcome. Thank you for having me. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
my pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.